YouTube.
Yep.
And then you're going to want to click on the, cool.
Okay. There we go. Saving content. We are live for, well, the first time ever, in a sense. My name is Jonathan Evigilans. I'm running my current page on Facebook, Jonathan Evigilans, or facebook.com/Evigilans1. How you spell Evigilans is Evigilans. So, to begin tonight's discussion, I decided it would be best to start with what Donald Trump said about cryptocurrency. It's just very interesting in its own right. Cryptocurrency is, if you don't know about it, you should learn about it. It might actually take over the market as it is. It will be a while before that happens. But as we know, and I'm not promoting cryptocurrency, not by any means, but as we know, the American dollar is in terrible shape due to, spending over, since America's founding, and especially since the Federal Reserve. So Trump said this. Hold on. I'm trying to find the link. So, I'm reading it from a news website right now called Market Watch, and this is an opinion about. They claim Donald Trump is right about Bitcoin. Thank you.
Yeah, your link is copied.
All right, this is my friend Ever. He was going ahead and setting up my stream to be able to advertise it on Facebook to my good friends. So, apparently this webpage doesn't want to quote Donald Trump. I'm going to find a different one. Because I want to pull up the tweet here. Trump tweet about Bitcoin. That's what I'm going to put in. Sorry for that delay. I am new to all this. Let's see. I'm actually going to pull up in images. Because I know they're going to have it screenshotted and shedded everywhere. God, there's a lot of fake stuff on here. God, this is such a pain in the butt to do this stuff. I was expecting it to be all easy. I need, staff. I need to hire people to help me with this. So basically, Trump said that Bitcoin is unstable. And, which is funny to me, because you know what he might be doing by attacking Bitcoin here, which I think is hilarious. He's going to get left-wingers to go on board with Bitcoin. Just because Trump doesn't like Bitcoin, that means we need to push Bitcoin.
Right.
If you think about it, which is kind of funny.
That's assuming history is repeating itself.
History is repeating itself?
It's just sort of like he said, so I'm going to do the opposite mindset.
Exactly. Which there's a lot of that, and we could get into that all day. Trump likes, what was it? Something he did, and they made a whole thing right. He eats chicken with a fork, and let's get outraged, I don't know. But, going into that, cryptocurrency, basically, I can't find the tweet right now, and whatever. Trump basically said it's unstable, and more or less did attack cryptocurrency as a whole. And we're trading seats right now. When he went after it, he more or less did say that it was unstable, and it is. Bitcoin is constantly fluctuating. This year, it's kind of been small influxes. Nobody's gotten rich off of Bitcoin this year, And there was a huge crash. What was it, last year, you'd say?
Roughly last year.
Yeah, it was roughly last year.
It started about early 2017 and ended in about late 2018.
Yeah, because they had those surges where people were investing a lot, and then it went down, so people just sold all their... Here we are. So one Bitcoin equals $11,588. That's insane.
Yeah.
That is crazy. So they are valuable.
Mm-hmm.
Still, for the time being, until they crash and become worth...
Nothing.
Literally nothing. Personally, I'm investing in Dogecoin. everything, all of my money that I make from my very good job is going into Dogecoin. And I'm just joking. Folks, please do not invest everything into Dogecoin. It is just a meme. But you never know. It could. Could you imagine, like, tomorrow's children? It's that. If you don't know what Dogecoin is, it's this coin or cryptocurrency that's basically like these pictures of the Doge bean, which is, or Doge, however you pronounce it. Let's see, I got my buddy Ever actually trying to find that tweet so we can actually talk about it. See, because there's the Market Watch again. Mm-hmm. Maybe they do bring it. It's really kind of bothersome how they don't actually bring his quote.
I mean, it could be not on Twitter, though. Did they say Twitter?
That's what I was thinking.
I don't think so.
Maybe not.
Yeah, no, I think it was just
talking about it a lot. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it wasn't an actual quote. Maybe it was faked, which is kind of interesting. Why would they fake that?
Well,
who would fake that? Let's say
I don't know. I mean,
Donald Trump doesn't like Bitcoin, so I don't know. Maybe it's to.
Well, it depends on how he's right. Highly volatile.
Right. So this. So apparently, Trump claims that cryptocurrencies are highly volatile and based on thin air, which is funny because he is right on that. I give him that.
Right.
It is thin air, but at the same time, it being based on thin air is better than it being based on a Federal Reserve IOU.
Right, exactly.
Because it's not backed up by the Federal Reserve. That's what's cool about cryptocurrencies. It's backed up by itself.
Right.
But that could be good. That could be bad.
Mm-hmm.
But I would trust money that's like gold, really. You give gold. What's it backed up by? It's backed up by itself.
Right, exactly.
There's no IOU for pure currency, which is what cryptocurrency is. It's pure currency. It's not a note, a $100 bill that if I were to bring this, I could get $100 worth of gold in. No.
Exactly.
Which, let's be honest, if I were to bring a $100 note in and ask for that much gold, I'd get like a chunk that was probably about the size of my pinky.
Right.
It's not. The American dollar is not worth that much. In fact, which also brings a question, and let's totally deviate off of it because it's rather a boring subject anyway. I just thought it was a rather neat way to start up. The American dollar has been spent so much and has been wasted by the government and by much other sources. We have... What was it? Can you pull up the debt?
The U.S. debt.
Yeah, let's go ahead and pull up the debt of the United States. We're in the national debt clock. Let's go ahead and pull that up. I know it was somewhere over 20 trillion, wasn't it?
I think so.
The U.S. national debt clock real time. Let's
right
go ahead and click that. Let's pull that up, and hopefully this is accurate. Oh my God, that's a lot of numbers. So the U.S. national debt is 22 trillion. It's over 22 trillion. I don't know about
2 trillion up from what? When was the outrage that...
the outrage?
When it hit 20 trillion.
When it hit 20 trillion. It hit 20 trillion under the Obama administration, I believe. Somewhere around 2008 to 2000... Oh my God, I really didn't pay attention to when Obama got out of office. I know when he got in, but I really can't. So when did the... Oh, okay, let's see here. That was February 13th?
About 2018, and then a single year... One year later, exactly, looks like...
Oh, that's right. It was in the 17 trillions when Obama was in presidency.
I believe so. And then around 20... It was the exact same date, actually. The NPR and Market Watch both 1 year later in tandem.
Right,
in 2018, February 13th, 2018, they said that it was 20 trillion, obviously.
So when they say America's in debt,
so
like, are we in debt? Yes, right? Or is our government in debt?
I mean, that's kind of the big point there is...
Because it's always a vague topic.
Well, I mean, especially in, like, the social construct of the American society, I guess we as a people are indeed in debt, so... I mean, I guess that's what you can draw, the conclusion you can draw.
Right, and so it's kind of funny because it's like, is our government in debt, and so we're in debt to our government? Because they're in debt. Is that the question?
I mean, I guess, to a degree, but...
To a degree. And it is difficult because And then the real question I love to ask people is, who are we in debt to? Is it the
Right.
Federal Reserve we're in debt to? Is it China? I know China's a big chunk of it, if we're honest. It's probably the oil trade with Saudi Arabia. It's just so much spending.
Mm-hmm.
So much. I mean, it's also, we're in debt to ourselves, which is hilarious. How do you
Right.
do that?
Exactly.
How do you do that? I'll tell you how you do that. It's like stuff like unions.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, that's
The debt. I mean, let's check our state debt currently. Like, we have a pretty gnarly.
So let's
state
check
debt.
out New Mexico's state debt. State debt of New Mexico. Let's see here. State data comparisons, perhaps.
Let's see. There was a debt clock. Here we go.
Okay, so New Mexico population is actually rather small, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, anyways, that's kind of funny. So the GDP, the debt. Holy crap! New Mexico
So-
makes 15. No, New Mexico
15 billion.
15 billion.
Yeah.
So New Mexico makes.
Well, that's the thing with the United States debt, is that they
right.
assume all of the debts of the individual states.
Right, as I understand.
So
Which brings a question. I heard a rather interesting rumor. Check out Colorado's debt,
oh yeah.
which might bring us into another discussion. Just change it to Colorado. Let's see if that does it. There, Colorado. Okay. Well,
So theirs is about 2% lower than ours as far as debt to GDP.
right. Debt
So-
to GDP ratio, which is 13. So what we're looking at here, Colorado isn't in as much debt as we are. And it's rather funny because I often hear people say Colorado paid off its debt.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a vague term. when you
It
think
is.
about
It is. So it's like, what
They
did
are
they-
actually $1,000 more in debt per citizen on average
right.
as compared to us.
But there is more population too.
That is very correct.
Yeah, there's way more
Way more
people in
people.
Colorado.
Yeah, I mean, because they have Denver. Let's be honest.
yeah, they have Denver, which there's a lot of coffee that way. Probably Chinese imported. Got a lot of vapors.
right.
Speaking of local news, Colorado, Durango, Colorado, 30 minutes north, or an hour if you're in
Right.
Farmington like we are, 30 minutes from Bloomfield. It is now, or very soon, going to be illegal to smoke or vape on sidewalks, road crossings, or all over the downtown area. And I don't think this is all of Durango. I just think the downtown area. Where it's like old school, like Main Street in a way for them. Like where the Irish pub is, Steamworks. So vaping, smoking, will it be illegal to vape in New Mexico? In New Mexico?
Is that what we were talking
No,
about?
we were talking about Durango.
Oh, sorry.
I was about to say, yeah, he's doing the searches for me, which I really appreciate him doing. It makes me sound like I'm not just making stuff up out of thin air, But I heard this on the radio. I tune into political radio quite often. I really enjoy. I gotta say, I enjoy Rush Limbaugh, even though most of his stuff, as I said, he'll go on a huge rant about something and totally cut it off and neuter it with, "Let me tell you where I got these boots. I got these boots from a great company, and I know you'll like them too." And it just cracks me up because, anyways. So, did you find a thing about that? Let's see here.
It's looking like,
So this is Colorado in general, or is this Durango?
I think it's Colorado.
Yeah,
oh, Durango, actually.
Yeah.
Law against public vaping has been taking effect across Colorado. The Durango Herald reports that the new state law beginning Monday prohibits vaping in most public places, including bars and restaurants. Under the law, authorities can fine the owner, manager, or operator of a business where illegal vaping occurs, while individual vaping in a prohibited area can also result in a fine.
Vaping is inhaling vapor, so it basically it goes into what vaping is for
Yeah.
the old boomers who are like, "What the hell is vaping?" So as I heard on the radio, Durango, the entire downtown area, it's crossroads, as in like crosswalks, public streets in downtown Durango, sidewalks. Of course, businesses, but that's kind of given. You can't really do that in businesses. Probably little patios on the side of... Just generally in the downtown area, don't be caught enjoying tobacco.
Right, exactly.
Which, well, if we're honest in Colorado, don't be caught, smoking the wacky tobacco, which brings a question. Do they consider wacky tobacco to be smoking? I wonder.
What? Can
They
you
would
vape?
have to be.
Can you vape?
No,
you can vape pure
I know.
THC, yeah.
I know that. I wasn't talking about that. I was just meaning, like, it's like, are they just banning cigarettes, or are they banning... Now they are banning smoking. It makes that very clear.
Yeah.
I was actually told by someone recently, actually, it was just a year ago, they told me that vaping was already illegal, or smoking was already illegal in Colorado, or, sorry, not Colorado, Durango, in public areas and such, so forth. I don't know, I've smoked cigarettes in Durango. I like smoking. I really enjoy smoking. And, I think it's counterproductive.
Yeah.
And, like, a part of me is like, yeah, banning smoking is, by all means, that's fine. But here's the problem, because did you get that bit where it's, like, businesses caught with, like, illegal smoking?
Yeah,
could catch, like, a huge fine?
In bars, people
like,
don't do it much anymore, but bars used to allow smoking.
But that's, like, part of the bar aesthetic. Like,
yeah, especially even in movies. Like, what are you going to do when you walk into a bar into a movie? Like, when the main character walks into a bar, they're smoking.
Like, dude, imagine this. It's like, the town of Durango is a bar town. There's bars, pubs, everywhere. And it's more or less, it's a party town. Maybe not all the time. There's a lot of business there. There's a lot of tourism. But there's a lot of partying because it's a tourist town. And that's kind of crappy. Imagine you're new to the area and you step outside of a business. Man, I need a smoke. And a cop walks up and gives you a $500 fine. That's how high it would go for the individual. Mm-hmm. It was $500. Up to $500. And may result. It's not a guarantee. The cop might tell you, put that smoke out. Put that stogie out, buddy. Hey, bud.
It's not going to be anything like too extreme, but still, you're going to get out for the warning.
So, yeah. So I reckon, but still, like, when it comes to paying off debt, you know how taxed cigarettes are?
Yeah, I know. What is the current cigarette? What state?
Like Colorado? Yeah, so let's go to Colorado. Let's see the state tax on tobacco, or would that be... Yeah, it would be cigarette tax. Which I think it's 7%?
Oh, I think it's higher than that.
Oh, yeah.
84 cents a pack. What about in New Mexico?
Yeah, so...
Oh, $1.66 per pack.
Yeah, I was about to say you get cheaper cigarettes in Colorado.
Colorado, yeah. No, it's always been pretty bad here. Because, on average, how much would you pay for yours? Like,
well, either way, my American Spirits, which is what I love to smoke when it comes to cigarette tobacco, on both occasions, it ranges, even in Colorado. You can find it in Colorado in some places for like $8. Mm-hmm. But on average, it's going to be like $8.50 compared to New Mexico's, like $9.50. Yeah. So it's $1 difference. But that's still not like everywhere, too.
Right.
Let's see. Do I think that the government should interfere this far? It's kind of interesting thinking about that because, like, yeah, smoking it's bad. You could be a total douche and, like, walk up to kids in the street, say, hey, kid, and then, like, blow it in his face. Which nobody does that. People who smoke generally don't do that. They try to be polite about it,
Right.
But you know what? I do think it's kind of funny how smoking is so demonized these days.
Yeah, not a lot of people do it. It's just sort of like, it's weird because it took a turn because, like, back in the 50s it was like, oh, we have a healthier cigarette than the opposing brand, you know what I mean? And nowadays it's like, obviously, we come to a universal agreement that's bad for you, but it became one of those things where it's like every single character in like a movie, anytime your dad was home, they just smoked, you know what I mean?
Smoke.
Exactly. And nowadays it's, obviously
because
demonized.
It's nice.
Yeah, I know, it's nice.
It's like so back in the 50s, when you got done doing your doctor-approved ice pick lobotomies, very stressful job back in the 50s, because these guys' wives were crazy and demanding stuff like equal pay, So they were going in, and they decided, what would be really great right now is our ice pick lobotomies. Approved. 9 out of 10 doctors agree. That 10th doctor being a woman.
Right.
That ice pick lobotomies work. But so this ice pick lobotomist gets off work. You know what all he wants to do after a hard day's work? He just wants a goddamn cigarette.
Yeah, I know.
Let him have a cigarette.
That's just kind of what it was. You know what I mean? Like,
Can we talk about that for a minute? I think that's actually more entertaining than anything we've gotten into. The 50s versus now in viewing medical and, like, just products that are generally bad for us. Asbestos in everything. Lead in the paint. I guess they were trying to make their houses radioactive proof. It was the Cold War. We're finding something. So Japan latest country to exclude Huawei.
it's Huawei.
Huawei.
Yeah, that's their name. It's a Chinese phone company.
Okay. So we're talking about 5G
5G,
now.
exactly.
Let's switch things. So 5G. I've heard some crazy stuff about 5G, haven't you?
And it's always kind of been from my mom. She's a little bit of a, conspiracy theorist
Well,
herself.
yeah, of course. Well, I mean, both of our parents are the
epitome of...
Obama is the Antichrist. And,
yeah.
And, I mean, no offense to him. God
Yeah.
bless him. I hope they watch my stream.
Right.
But, like, that sort of thing. And they're not crazy. Not by any means. I don't mean to imply they're crazy. Because, I guess Obama could be the Antichrist. I haven't seen it disproved yet. I just think he would have acted while he was president, personally. But that was what I grew up, through 2008, was that it was guaranteed Obama's going to be the end of this country. It's the end of the world. And that's not just from my parents. That's from every conservative outlet. Rush Limbaugh. Everybody said Obama is going to destroy this country. Obama had 8 years here. And you know what he did? I'm going to be honest with you. He wasn't the worst president we've ever had. He didn't do any good for this country. But he really just didn't do anything. Mm-hmm. He didn't do anything for this country. Not a single thing. He instituted Obamacare, which damaged the country a lot. Mm-hmm. And put us into a bigger hole than we're already in so many ways.
Yeah.
But that's about it. He instituted Obamacare and bounced. The rest of it, he played golf. He was worthless, more or less. What I mean by that, it's like, no, I would have never voted for him. But that guy did nothing. And I'm not saying he's not evil. I'm not saying he's evil either. I'm just saying he didn't do anything.
Yeah.
So, the craziness of that. So, anyways, back to 5G. I've heard of 5G, like, melting people's brains and, like, burning their face like an 80s telephone.
Well, but that's where I've been suspicious. Is this the 80s telephone all over again?
Yeah, is this the 80s
telephone? Like, it's going to cause testicular cancer if
your
phone's in your pocket.
Testicular.
I'm dead serious. That was actually valid. It's phone sex.
Testicular cancer from the phone.
Yeah.
Get that 5G nut.
The 5G nut.
Yeah. Dang it. When it comes down to it, what sources do we have of that? Was it ever? See 5G.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, let's go ahead and Google some 5G. So, are there any medical concernings of 5G? That's what we're going to Google now. Let's pull it up. Will 5G affect our health? How worried should you be about the health risks of 5G? So we're at a website called howtogeek.com. How worried should you be about the health risks of 5G? Reading here. So 5G is the new standard. It's going to be faster. It's going to allow you to stream higher video. It's going to be the next generation. I mean, 4G, 5G. There you go. That's simple as that. Your phone says 4G, tomorrow it's going to say 5G, right?
Right.
Correct.
Okay. Well, I mean, if your phone supports it, obviously, it's
if your
rolling
phone
out with the newer, with the newer phones.
Right. Because the newer phones are going to have the microwaves that give you testicular
cancer.
cancer.
Exactly. And the microwave is, just like the microwave, it's going to cause your food to become riddled with cancer.
Yeah, it's just going to, 10 rads
right.
when you eat it. It's just the bigger
10 rads.
yeah, it's like Fallout.
Right. I mean... So, I mean, I've seen multiple sources bring up, radio frequency radiation or RFR bands.
If we're completely honest, these radio bands are not natural.
Exactly.
And they are going to cause something. But at the same time, it's like, how bad is it going to be?
Uh-huh.
And these capacitors that are running it, because that's what we're trying to figure out.
So,
assistant professor of neurology.
Right. They cite him here. His name is Dr. Steve Novella. He's an assistant professor of neurology at Yale, and he's the editor of Science-Based Medicine. They use a quote here that he said, using the term radiation is misleading because people think of nuclear weapons. They think of ionizing radiation that absolutely can cause damage, that it does kill cells, and it causes DNA mutations.
Okay, well, apparently that's where we were.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly what we're talking about.
Exactly. Yeah. I know. I mean, that's sort of the concept behind it, but...
I mean, so the fact of the matter, is it like a different ray of radiation than what we're used to?
It's non-ionizing.
Non-ionizing.
So it basically means that it won't cause any chemical change or physical changes.
We're not going to have any 5G Chernobyls.
Exactly. Power lines even emit non-ionizing radiation, like electromagnetic
so, like,
radiation.
Heat, is that a non-ionizing radiation?
I can't comment.
Can't comment. Okay. Fine. It's like, we're trying to do a press report. I can't comment. Well, you trying to hide something? Anyways. Is heat... Is heat a product of non-ionizing radiation? And it's probably just going to say, like, in big bold text, no. No. Okay, so it has nothing to do with that.
It can cause some atoms to vibrate, which does cause things to heat up.
Okay.
So, but even then, it's probably a minuscule
So 5G
amount.
can... This just in, 5G causes spontaneous combustion.
Exactly.
Grandma answers the phone and bursts into flames. Oh my God! The goddamn telephone doesn't help me! How do I turn it off? Can you help me with my phone, John? Oh my God! I'm on fire! This just in.
What a concept.
What a concept. Ring, ring.
Hello.
Yeah, just bursts into flames.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's one of those things. I think. I mean, it's healthy. I mean, to a degree, for somebody to be, skeptical about things.
Oh, of course. And
I mean throughout the years. That's why I was out at it throughout the years because it's the same concept of, microwaves and. When the first telephone came out, there's always gonna be something bad,
right? Like
attributed with it. So
go back on the smoking topic.
Exactly.
Vapor.
Exactly. Vapor. Like, all right. So
dude, you keep hitting that. Okay, listen. It's the menthol. Heard this on the radio. It's basically, listen. If you keep hitting those menthol flavored vapes, your lungs are gonna slip out your booty.
Yeah,
they're gonna fall on the ground and flop around with a big old case of the popcorn lung. You keep doing that, so
and it's always sort of been like that. Scare people into submission.
But is that
I guess.
well, no? It's probably like, is it like just the old? And this sounds kind of anti-capitalist of me, which I don't mean to admit.
Right.
I am a very proud capitalist, but could that just be like Thomas Edison trying to stop Tesla? Like, okay, this guy has brought a clearly better product to the table. We need to scare people. Which is exactly what Thomas Edison did to Tesla. If you plug this in and put it next to a cat, the cat turns to bones. And everyone was like, oh, God, we got to get rid of Tesla.
Yeah, sort of like downplaying.
But like the same thing you did, if you did it to Edison, like with his power, it'd do the same thing.
Exactly.
And it was exactly a scare tactic.
Yeah, that's
So could 4G...
5G.
But no, I'm talking 4G. Could
okay.
4G, whoever is running 4G, be trying to slow the progress of 5G?
I don't know because, I would see it as kind of suicide because these
bursting into
flames. Yeah, no. But I mean, literally speaking, so like let's take these giants, right, in the telecommunications network,
Nokia,
AT&T, Verizon,
right.
and them teaming up. Well, not so much teaming up, but you know what I mean.
Are they teaming up?
No, I mean they're not
Okay.
teaming up. But I'm saying like, what if their smartphone producers like Samsung, Apple, OnePlus, Huawei, all these huge tech giants in the smartphone industry.
Yeah.
So they have the ability to create a 5G phone and 5G towers.
Right.
Which are, obviously more expensive up front. It's a new technology. It could
Right.
be possibly underdeveloped. But it also has the ability to make users pay more for phones and for, what are the words I'm looking for? For,
services.
Exactly, services. So I don't understand why. I don't understand if it would be like, a 4G competitor or something like that. I think it's just simply one of those things, like, it's just the American population just being skeptical, you know what I mean?
Right, which is good.
Yeah.
But it also brings us concept, so obviously this wouldn't be a scare tactic to slow things down. Unless, of course, news agencies, of course the little guys, the news agencies, they got to make a story.
Exactly.
So I could see that being the main thing.
Mm-hmm.
But unlike, say, the vapor industry
right.
is being demonized by the tobacco industry.
Yes.
Because, let's be honest, vapor,
it's a competitor.
Vapor is the death of tobacco.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not a competitor. It's done defeated it.
Yeah.
Because
more people vape than smoke, and that's obvious.
No.
No?
No.
Really?
No way in fuck. No.
Really?
No, there's way more people.
I thought it was the other way around.
You can look it up. There's like millions and millions of Americans that still smoke. But, no. There's not more vape. Maybe in some states.
Maybe.
You're not going to find...
Yeah, I don't think there's... I mean, obviously, it's not going to be like...
Yeah, it's not
a necessary statistic.
But what... No, I can just tell you right now. I mean... I would like to find the statistic and link
well,
it
no,
to
I mean,
but...
I would think that it's the younger generation that's sort of picking up this new...
No, old people are too. Especially with... And I don't mean to promote them by any means, but Juul.
Right.
JUUL.com. You can go ahead and look at this. If you're a smoker, I do suggest switching to vaping. And I haven't personally ever tried a Juul. I would suggest just going down to the Vapor Shop or going to VaporDNA.com. Now, there's a website I would like to advertise as VaporDNA.com. They do some awesome deals. However, vaping is healthier than cigarettes.
That's unanimous.
And no matter... So, what you've got here... And tobacco is kind of interesting. We've gone back to the smoking thing. It's a big deal.
Yeah.
Because you get to see... It's a perfect example of competition.
Mm-hmm.
Because nobody, until vapor has come along, has been able to take out tobacco.
Yeah.
People have tried. They've tried lawsuits. They've tried... Because tobacco kills.
Mm-hmm.
To be honest. It gives people cancer.
Yeah,
gives people
it has
COPD.
a correlation, yeah.
Exactly. It is the death of people. Most people I work with are they're former smokers.
Yeah.
And I work in the healthcare industry. So, that being
ironically
said,
smokes himself.
Yeah, I know, right? That's why I looked at my lighter and just set it down. So, but it has inspired me. It's like I should just stop smoking and switch to vaping and maybe just someday quit altogether. But vaping is nice because you can also get zero nic.
And just try
and
flavors.
Just the flavors. It's a candy. So now you have something that combats, get this, vaping beats obesity. Imagine that, right? So instead of going for the candy every time you're bored, you pull out your little vapor, because there's no carbohydrates in vapor,
right.
You just, and so, and there you go. So it could be also, what's funny, that brings us back to the 50s, cigarettes were advertised as a dieting supplement.
Dieting supplement?
I'm serious.
Well, no, I mean even back in the day.
Satisfy your cravings was a big thing.
Yeah, back in the day they even used tobacco for healing purposes. They tried to use it for like medicinal purposes.
Like you got lung cancer, here, smoke a cig, And I love that one picture. It's all dude in Vietnam. He's got a freaking bullet in his left lung.
Yeah.
So they just like, here, have a cigarette.
Exactly.
Which probably wasn't for medicine. It was probably just to,
Relax,
calm him
yeah.
down.
Even though he looked pretty lax, I mean,
He
all
was,
things
dude,
considered.
he probably been in Vietnam for years at
Yeah.
that point. He's like, it was just another day. He's
Yeah.
getting shot at. He's all got his gun in his hand. And, there's my other lung.
Right.
So, moving
But I
on
mean,
from that.
I think what people get. I mean, talking about the politics behind it, the legislation behind it. I'm not saying like it's okay to vape indoors or anything like that, but I don't understand why vaping is so demonized.
Yeah, it is weird.
That's a big thing with me.
You are looking at I'll tell you right now, and I don't mean to interrupt you. It's literally the tobacco industry.
Yeah,
because it's insane. Because vaping, I understand it. Like you don't want to be eating your we went to the casino and ate today. You don't want to be sitting there and have some dude on a skateboard puffing pepperoni smelling ass clowns. Clowns, I just say clowns. Pepperoni smelling ass clowns.
Yeah.
Anyway, you don't want pepperoni smelling ass clouds infecting your nostril in front of your hot date. And then him just being like, "What's the problem, bro? It's just vapor."
Yeah.
It's the problem. It's just vapor. So, you don't want that. You don't want that. So understand, in that sense, impoliteness is demonized, but not the vapor.
Right.
There's a lot of laws being passed right now about smoking in cars with your kids.
Uh-huh.
Okay. It's like, for the most part, I'm like, whatever happened to let's talk about vehicles, right? Vehicles, ever since their, introduction, have always been an extension of your private domicile.
Right.
That's a house on wheels. Officers cannot enter your vehicle for searching without a warrant, just like a house.
Exactly.
And stuff like that. So what happened to the privacy of our cars? We can't not wear our seatbelts if we don't want to wear our seatbelts. A crime that would literally only hurt ourselves. We could be fined hundreds of dollars for not wearing a seatbelt.
Right.
We could be fined hundreds of dollars, and I reckon it'll just not be about the kids anymore. They'll probably fine you for smoking in your car before long.
Right.
Just period. Which, I'm not against, banning smoking, for kids. Because secondhand smoke is bad. Is really bad. And that's just a proven fact. Secondhand smoke, you know how I smoke? Your lungs are probably worse than mine just because your parents smoked.
Right. Secondhand smoke being the big killer.
Right. And, I mean, that could just be baseless. But so, I don't know. But, let's see. So, we're looking into that. The cigarette industry kills people. But at the same time, does it kill people, or do people's choices kill people?
That's, I think that's always been a big debate.
And personally, I think it's people's choices.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, should we ban tobacco? No, well, I mean, not at all. If we believe that weed should be legalized, which a lot of people do, a lot of hippies, and a lot of people who vape think that, cigarettes should be banned. Which is not fair. I'm all for tearing down the tobacco industry as we know it. Maybe a little bit of reform in there.
Right.
But purely out of the control of our wallets. Let's teach them a lesson by not buying it. What you see is literally the free market taking place and saving lives.
Right.
Smoking cigarettes kills. So here's what you can do. Vape. And trust me, vaping smells better. It is better in every single way than cigarettes. Every single way. Cigarettes.
Mm-hmm.
So, because, cigarettes, let's be honest, unless it's a cigar, a real fancy cigar, smell like ass juice. They smell terrible. There's no coating of cigarette smell. They smell like dick.
Yeah, they don't smell very pleasant.
And I ain't even smell dick, but they smell pretty bad. So, it's funny how much we talk about smoking in this chat. It's interesting though, because I love it so much, because it's an example of capitalism taking place right now. So you have a monopoly, massive monopoly, tobacco.
Right.
It's one of the biggest monopolies in the world, if not the biggest, right?
Right.
It's definitely the best example of a monopoly because you do have tobacco paying the government. You can't tell me they're not. They are paying the government to raid and bash down on vaping. So what you see in a vapor stores now, you see this. Vapor shops now cannot make their own in some states, cannot make their own vape. They have to get a federally approved vape, which might, and here's the deal with that, a lot of these federal approved ones are produced by tobacco companies, Marlboro, stuff like that. The stuff you see at gas stations, the little vapor cigarettes, produced by by cigarette companies, big name cigarette companies, Marlboro, Camel, all of them. They, and you're like, whoa. So it's like buying a iced tea at Walmart, and then you turn around and it's like manufactured by Coca-Cola. They're not fooling anybody.
Right.
This is Coca-Cola. It's pretending to be iced tea. So I would just be very weary of that. Like, yeah, I'm sure there have been plenty of mess ups in the local industry. Like, for example, being allowed to put 60% nicotine in your juice. But, like, again, it's a crime that's literally going to hurt nobody but yourself.
Right.
Unless, I don't know, your cat gets a hold of your vape pen and has a stroke.
Yeah, right.
Like, could you imagine a cat on that much nicotine? It'd probably just shit itself and die.
Honestly.
Yeah, I'm just contemplating.
Theorizing on that.
I saw a cat running around, stared at me. I'm like, I'm gonna stuff you full of nicotine. It's really cool because vapor exploded.
Yeah.
When it first hit the market,
it was. I mean, that's kind of the theme with everything. It wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't anything when it first started. You know what I mean? Very few people were doing it, and it seems like
hey, try this.
Exactly, and from there, everybody it just kind of exploded.
And then everyone had to tell their friends.
Yeah,
like, try this, and it's healthier. What?
Right.
It tastes better. It smells better. It's better.
It doesn't stain my clothes, what I mean.
It doesn't kill your ass. Now, granted, I'm sure it can.
Mm-hmm.
Nicotine is,
but it's not
unhealthy for your heart. Period.
Exactly. But I mean,
but it's not the fiberglass and tires,
right?
That is in a cigarette.
The tar,
and
on our roads and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's not the dust and diesel smoke and. Let's go ahead and get the shotgun out. Yeah. So, that being said, again, I like how it blew up. I like how it exploded like it did. Capitalism is going to beat the tobacco industry. Capitalism is going to destroy the monopolies in place that capitalism is often blamed for. But if you see true capitalism, which this is it right here, vapor industries, a whole bunch of mom and pop vapor stores coming up single-handedly, costing this monopoly probably upwards of the billions now in revenue. And trust me, when money like that starts flying, people take notice. So you start seeing restrictions start coming into place.
Right.
You start seeing stuff like, no, they can't make it in their own stores anymore. No, they can only sell this brand, which is going to, of course, have a tobacco name behind it.
Right.
And then you start to see exactly what a monopoly is. It's a monopoly that's creating laws.
Mm-hmm.
That's the problem between capitalism and monopolism, corporatism. The government in our country, the government's sole purpose was, one, to be a military, and two, listen here, and two, stop monopolies from forming. That's about it. I mean, because if you look at the Constitution, it's like the government was like here not to get in your business and tell you couldn't smoke in your car. It was here to defend you from the people who told you couldn't smoke in your car. It seems like it's kind of gotten out of the way. The Constitution did imply that you should be able to defend yourself from that at all costs. No, I'm not saying go shoot your representative because he said you can't smoke and blow smoke in your kid's face anymore. Could you imagine? Local senator of whatever, wherever, assassinated based on, or violently threatened or something like that based on, hey, let's talk about not blowing secondhand smoke in your kid's face.
Right.
Don't mean to imply that any acts of violence of any type should come from that. It's a cigarette. Get over it.
Mm-hmm.
But I am saying that it we went to a 3% tax over an unnecessary drink. We went into a revolution.
Yep.
Those East Indian trading companies be taxing my tea. I'm gonna go ahead and shoot some people over it. That's what America was founded on.
Right.
That sounds wrong. Don't hurt anybody. Okay? Don't do that. Anyways, I'm trying to think. Area 51. Let's go ahead and begin that.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Area 51. There's a whole lot of people. They're joking right now. But the storm Area 51, more than 500,000 people have RSVP'd to storm Area 51. So,
this is from Vox.com.
This is from Vox. But it's also just in general. I've seen it myself. It shows up in my Facebook pages all the time. I've shared jokes about this. Seriously, right away I can tell you, before we even get into this, before we get into Area 51, and I mean, seriously, you're not going to get in there. Before we get into this whole discussion, do not.
Right, do it.
Do not do it. I'm going to tell you right now, you will regret it. I'm not going to say you'll die. You'll probably be okay, but you're going to regret this. So, right away, 500,000 people, though, is something. So, we actually talked about this, me and a friend of mine. 500,000. To put this into perspective, if 500,000 people showed up ever, that would be a threat.
Right.
Because 500,000 is nothing to be, reckoned with.
Mm-hmm.
That's
a lot of people.
That's a fucking lot of people.
Yeah.
To put that into perspective, 50,000 was Israel's military back in the 60s. 500,000 is more than, it's 10 times that, really.
Right.
So, I'm not very good at math.
A little bit slow.
So, you're looking at a small, a considerable country-sized military of unarmed meme lords running at Area 51, the most protected base in the United States. Now, let's be honest, that's not going to happen. 500,000 people are not going to show up at Area 51.
Right.
I would be surprised if 500 people show up to Area 51 on whatever date that is. Is there a clear date?
I don't. Oh yeah, it was somewhere in the September area.
Oh yeah, it was 9/20, wasn't it?
I believe so.
Well, either way, in September, because it doesn't matter. It's not going to happen. And I'll be honest with you. I wonder how many people are on a watch list because of this.
That's a lot of people to be putting on a watch list.
That's a lot of people to be putting on a watch list. But let's be honest, we're all on a watch list anyway, aren't we? We're all being watched. Probably need to back away from the mic. It probably got really loud. But, that's the kind of funny concept, isn't it? So let's say, that 500 people show up to this. And they see that there's 500 people, and they think that's a lot of people, right? I'll tell you what's going to happen. This is the genuine what is going to happen. If 500, just 500, not 500,000, just 500 people. So this is what I would reckon the max amount of people that will actually show up to this Tard Fest, if you will. Now, if it was successful, I'd be really interested to know what's in Area 51, but let's be honest, that's not going to get anywhere, is it? Right. So 500 people show up, and they start rushing it, right? Just bum rush. They're running. Okay, I'll tell you what's going to happen. Even before they start running, there's going to be a helicopter that shows up.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably, in my mind, I've always seen it as like an Apache, but it could be just like a Huey. I don't know. I don't know what flies around Area 51, but I reckon they could get anything on scene that they wanted to pretty damn quick.
Yeah.
So let's say they send an Apache, which is the standard, anti-infantry helicopter. as far as I understand. I can't confirm that. I'm not a huge... I love military stuff, but I'm not like about the specifics, what tools are used for what. I know that Apaches specifically are used for patching motherfuckers up. So, an Apache flies in and starts buzzing people. I'm not saying shooting. Buzzing means flying over and causing the dirt around them to basically swarm them. Like 1,000 little bees,
Right.
flying around and stinging you at once. Sandblast.
Yeah.
And you're getting sandblasted by this helicopter. 500 people, that wouldn't be hard to do. So they're doing volleys of these sandblasts. Let's be honest, that's going to cost you probably about 200 of your people right there.
Uh-huh.
Because they're not going to have the goggles. They're not going to have anything that could handle the sandblast. So they're going to just start running away right there. In fact, let's go ahead and take that number up. That'd probably take out about 400 people. Where they're like, nope, we're not doing this. We're leaving. Because out of the loudspeakers, leave now, leave now, leave now is what that helicopter is going to be saying. Stop.
Right.
And I'm not meaning to be serious, but it is kind of a funny concept. So this is what's really going to happen. And that's what I said. This is what's really going to happen. So they're going to warn these people. They're not just going to open fire.
Right.
They wouldn't do that. That's bad PR. And God knows what the media would do with that to try and blame it on Trump. 500 meme tards run up to Area 51 and get slaughtered by the Trump administration. I could see it in the news headline now. No, that's not Trump. That's Area 51. It has been since its creation. People have gone a little too close and have disappeared for the rest of their life.
Right.
Gone. God knows where. Maybe they were fed to the aliens. I don't know. So now you have 100 people left after the buzzing, right? And these 100 people say, screw it, let's keep going. Let's run in. They can't stop all 100 of us. Okay, so they're going, and the buzz gets a little more real, it gets a little more hectic. Now, the helicopters are going to fire warning shots across the front. They are going to shoot warning shots. So they're going to fire those warning shots. It's going to strike the ground in front of the runners. And there goes about 50 people. Nope. No, that's actually 70 people. So that would leave you about 30, right?
Out of
100.
70 people. Yeah, 30.
30. So
It's 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm not doing math.
Yeah, it's 3 in the morning. So you have 30 people left who are still prone to do this. And let me tell you, those 30 people, after the warning shots, in the distance, you hear a couple of shots from that helicopter. And those 30 people are never seen again. And neither are the other people who followed them. Now, I'm not saying that the people who ran after the warning shots are dead, but they are definitely under arrest. They're not getting out of there.
Huh.
They are being chased down by SWAT teams, or not SWAT teams exactly, Area 51 military units.
Right.
They are being stopped. They are being put in vans, probably the size of Texas. They are being, and they're never going to be seen again.
Mm-hmm.
Never going to be heard from. Never again. They're probably going to be used to feed the aliens.
Right.
Or maybe recruited after intense brainwashing to clean the floors of Area 51. You never know what's going on in there. A buddy of mine brought an interesting concept. So this is theory time. If you were to start digging enough miles out, how many miles out from the Area 51 complex would you have to be outside of Area 51 in general, where they're not monitoring that area? How much do you think? It'd have to be like 30 miles, right?
Of digging?
Of outside of the area of Area 51.
Roughly.
30 miles?
Yeah, maybe. That's a safe bet.
Yeah, that's a safe bet. So let's say 30 miles outside of the complex. Not 30
Maybe.
miles from the base.
Right.
30 miles from the complex.
Yeah.
Let's say a backhoe or like excavator starts digging 30 miles outside of the complex. Starts digging. It gets down to a certain level and then starts digging straight towards the complex. Digging. This would take... I put the estimate at about 4 years before this was halfway done. you know. But this person who's running this excavator gets, you know, inside the Area 51 area. Would they be able to sense him?
Probably.
This is what I was thinking. Is like, would it be like a seismic activity, you think? Would it come up?
Maybe.
Would it be like, or would it be like a metal detector? They run a little scan and there's like, what the hell is that? Perhaps a plane is out there that can see underground and like light it up thermal wise. But then again, you're under so much ground because this guy wouldn't be stupid, right? He'd be under enough ground not to show up on thermal.
Right.
Which is quite a bit. You'd probably be, well, let's say more than 2 feet at least.
Right.
You'd probably be about 20 feet underground. At least. And so, yeah, you'd be more than that. You'd be way more than that. We're not muted, are we?
Nope.
Okay. So, what we've got is this potentiality of this guy getting into Area 51, and then, well, going...
Sorry about that. We were down for a little bit.
Oh, we were down for a bit? How long?
Just took a second or two.
Okay, we're down for a bit.
Yeah.
So, getting back into it, if this guy in this backhoe dug into a tunnel, one of these many tunnels that are supposedly underneath Area 51, it's like, how long would it be before he was discovered? And we went into funny theories on this. What if he like dug into this, like concrete hits concrete? Oh boy, I found a tunnel, right? Digs through it, and it's just like it's the barracks.
Right.
Like, imagine sitting there and you just hear, and you're like, what the hell?
Right.
It bursts through, you know, Area 51, and it's just 1,000 like AKs.
Right.
You know, not AKs. It's American military. They use
M4s.
fucking M4s. They just 1,000 M4s.
Right.
What the hell is that? Or, as I said, it's kind of like the forgotten hallway. You could get, you know, strike a gold mine where they're never going to find you for a long time. But here's the thing with that. We're getting into it. Perhaps it would be like a sonar system that, like, fishermen use around the ground. Perhaps they'd see this motor running up. But I was thinking, it couldn't be seismic. Because there's generators constantly running, right? All around the facility, underground, that would have to be powering this facility. Surely there's a nuclear shelter. There's all kinds of stuff powering it underground.
Right.
And that would be, you know, that would mask your backhoe of doom. But I don't know. I bet the Mexicans could do it. You know, like El Chapo.
Yeah.
Build a little dirt bike, you know, the alien speedway. You know, yeah. Because El Chapo, basically, you know, he could stand up in that darn thing. He's just riding a bike to freedom, which is kind of funny. So I know the Mexicans, because I've heard some crazy stuff about.
But so, I mean, I don't think that they're going to take it seriously, though. I mean, obviously not. I mean, theorizing aside, I don't think people are going to take it too seriously.
Oh, it's rushing.
Yeah, Area 51.
Rushing Area 51 in general. No,
of course not.
Nobody's going to do that.
Yeah, because I mean. In the description, it says, if we Naruto run, like...
Yeah, you know, if we Naruto run. But at the same time, it is a threat. Now, here's the thing I brought up to Gavin, my buddy. So, this is obviously a joke.
Right.
I mean, this is clearly a joke. This is just fun speculation.
Uh-huh.
So, I wonder how many actual enemies of the state have subscribed to this to see where it's going. Russian spies, Chinese spies.
I don't know if...
Because think about it. If you were to... So here's the thing what I would expect, right? You're going to have a bunch of people who are just joking. And then you're going to have someone who would be one of these enemies of the state, right? Appear and start antagonizing.
Mm-hmm.
Start saying, let's do it! Let's do it! Let's find out what's in there. And right as everyone starts running, just falls back. Yeah. So you see that a lot, like in the Antifa protests and stuff. You see someone run by Soros or something, going and pegging them with a stick until they lose their shit and start hitting people with bike locks because, you know, they're a bunch of mangy apes, for lack of better terms. Because, trust me, communist is worse than ape. Which is what they are, I'm afraid. And you see this a lot in a lot of protests. You'll see them doing it to the right-wingers, too. That antagonizers, people who want to cause a ruckus, start... People who are paid by a government entity, they're paid by a government entity, to cause this to get out of hand. Now, who's to say that, it's all a joke. It's only a few people over at God knows where, Area 51.
Mm-hmm.
And they're all gathered at the same place. They're all drinking. They're having a fun time, enjoying themselves. And all of a sudden, a guy comes up.
Can you give me my phone?
Yeah. A guy comes up and starts antagonizing everyone, saying, let's do this, let's do this, let's do this. People run in, and maybe, if there's enough people, a state secret is revealed. Mm-hmm. And it's a great breach of Homeland Security. Who's to say that the person who started all this isn't an enemy of the state? Now,
right.
I would love to know what's in Area 51. In fact, I think there's a lot of stuff they're hiding from the American people that they shouldn't be hiding.
Right.
But at the same time, I can understand that every government has its secrets that they can't even let their own people know.
Right.
Because their own people will loose lips sink ships.
Exactly.
But yeah, that's kind of an interesting concept, ain't it?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I gotta say, it's not the best first stream I've ever done. It's all my first stream.
Right.
But, I'll go ahead and call it at the hour and 2 minute mark.
Mm-hmm.
I'll probably just make them about hour longs. So if we want to go ahead and shut it down, this has been the first Evigilans broadcast. Thank you for listening. I understand that it's a bit disorganized. It's a bit everywhere. But I think as we do this and as we figure out how to do it, make it more professional, we might start including footage of things to keep your eyes entertained as well as your mind.
Right.
So, thanks for joining us. Go ahead and leave a comment, leave a like, and please subscribe. This is probably going to be the future of my channel. Thank you very much. Again, this is Jonathan of Evigilans. You can find my Facebook page at facebook.com/Evigilans1. And you can find how that's spelled in the title of this video. Thank you for listening. Have a wonderful day and good morning.